right, accountability buddies. It is Les, and this is take number 3 of vlog number 33. This should not be as difficult to record as it is, but I keep making newbie mistakes. I forgot to turn on something with the camera, so the audio recorded too hot, and I don't think it's something I can edit out in post. So I'm reshooting this again, because I did 2 takes of it before. So today is warmer. It's in the low 40s. We have sun, a little sun with a little cloud cover, little bit of wind, not a whole lot. So it's looking pretty nice out there. Also, the storm that we were supposed to get yesterday, which we did get a storm, we got a few inches of snow Friday night, and then it switched over on Saturday to rain and sleet. And it ended with rain, which means the roads are clear, the sidewalks are clear, and I noticed that because of the breeze, things have started to dry out in my neighborhood when I was driving over here. So today is Sunday. It's errand day. I've got a load of pellets here in the car for, hopefully, this will be the last or almost the last trip I make for pellets. So things are looking good. Hoping to get that walk in. Planning on getting that walk in as soon as I finish recording this. I will be headed to home, and we will get a walk-in. So awesome stuff. What I wanted to talk about today is that I had a mentally rough day, and I wanted to talk about the different kinds of difficult days. So first off, I divide my difficult days into 3 days. I have difficult food days where I just want to eat junk. I don't want to eat my, diabetic diet, the low carb diet. I don't want to, I just want a regular soda. I want a candy bar. And I'm not usually into sweets, so, soda and a bag of chips, just, delicious, right? So there's that aspect. And then I have difficult physical days where I don't feel physically well. My muscles hurt, I've got aches, I got pains, my lower back hurts, my foot hurts, this hurts, that hurts, wah, right? Or I'm injured. Those are physically difficult days. And then there are the mentally difficult days. And those are the days that really get me, right? Physical days, you can kind of point towards, I got hurt, this happened, well, I got physical pain, I got to put my foot up because that's how you heal. You can always point to those physical ailments and say, those need time to heal, and this is how it heals. Bad food days are just, they're like a mental day. So the mentally difficult days, though, are the days that are the roughest for me. And so I'm sorry to the men who are watching, but, the women in your life go through this, and, my monthly cycle, before I had my period, those hormonal changes, make things difficult. This has been, for me, a regular thing where, physically, they impact me physically, they impact my food choices, they affect how my stomach feels, and my mental state, I'm more anxious, and I get caught in negative thinking patterns during that time. So it's also just something for me to think about and be aware of. And so I'm pretty aware of that. I keep track of things, and I know when it's going to hit. And sometimes mentally bad days or mentally tough days happen for other reasons. Or sometimes they're combined, which is the thing that kind of hit me this week. So earlier this past week, I had a work meeting. The work meeting was scheduled for 10 to 1. And so I have my morning shake between 6 and 8 every morning. And I usually eat between 11:30 and 12:30. I eat earlier if I have my shake earlier because I'm hungry. And that morning I happened to have gotten up early. I had my shake around 6:30. So around 11:30 I started to feel hungry. but we were in meetings and I couldn't just walk out. So I didn't walk out. I was like, no, I can power through it. I'll be fine. I'll be fine until 1. And then it came time for me to give my presentation. I realized I was not fine. My blood sugar had gone down a lot. It was below 70. I did my presentation and I felt pretty bad mentally. And so that's like another mental thing, is like where your blood sugar's at can really impact where you are mentally. It affects your tiredness. It affects all of that stuff. So my blood sugar was low. I powered through it, felt like crap. Then I made bad food choice on top of that, which spiked my blood sugar up. Not that high. But, as my diabetes team talked about, like, the goal for me is to keep my blood sugars as level as I can. I don't want, it to drop down low, super low. I want to keep it around 70. And then I don't want it to spike up super high. So, you don't want it to hit 400. And so it probably spiked around 300 for me. And that's bad. And so, like, when I have those huge fluctuations, I don't feel mentally great. I feel terrible. And I've also found, like, that when my blood sugar drops like that, it takes a while for my brain to function well again. And it just didn't function well for another day. So then it took a little while for me for it to click and me to have the epiphany of, like, oh, I can't power through anymore. And that was kind of like a thing, like a big thing for me to, like, have a realization about. And it was uncomfortable. It's always uncomfortable to have those sort of, like, life epiphanies about things that are difficult. And it also hit me like this is a lifelong thing, like, I joke around, my pancreas is a quitter. And my pancreas is a quitter. My pancreas has decided that it doesn't want to work as well as it used to work, and my body's not sending the right signals to it for it to function properly when it does function. And so I'm going to have days where my blood sugar drops down. I'm going to have days when my blood sugar spikes up, and I've got to maintain that through what I put into my body and what I put out. So I had that thing going on, that trigger. And then Saturday was just a rough day. I woke up. I thought I was going to get to go for a walk because it looked like it was snowing, and it was snowing at that point. But then it switched. It switched over to rain when I was like, it's time to go for a walk. And I looked outside. It was just water pouring down from the sky. So I was like, yeah, guess I'm not going for a walk. And then combined with that epiphany, it just, like, brought me down. And I got caught into a lot of those negative thinking patterns that you can have. I started, like, thinking to myself, why do I do this? What is this worth it? Why do it? Why? There's a lot of that. And, so I could not motivate myself to get onto that trainer last night. I wanted to. Like, part of me was like, if you do this, you'll feel better tomorrow. But I also knew it wasn't going to necessarily make me feel better right then. And so I believe in positive thinking and changing perspective and all of that, but also I don't want to get caught up in toxic positivity. I try to stay real on this channel. Like, I don't want to pretend that the only thing I have to do is change my perspective, that the only thing I have to do is walk, that the only thing I have to do is drink that morning shake. Like, those aren't the only things I'm doing, for sure. There's a lot more to this than just drinking the morning shake, going for the walk, taking my medication. This is a process, and it's going to be a lifelong process. The next 45 years of my life are going to be being more aware of what I put into my body and what I take out, what I do with my body. And that's like part of the epiphany that I had in terms of, like, can't power through a lunch break, right? Like, this is a lifelong process. Ooh, it's hard. Like, that's hard stuff. It's not easy stuff. So, like, I just wanted to kind of own that there's they're kind of rough days that you have. You have rough food days, those rough physical days, and rough mental days. And I wanted to talk about it because I think it's important to talk about those rough mental days. And they're not easy. And for me, I can have one or two or even three of those in a row in any given month. But if it lasts longer than 2 or 3 days, then that's a point for where I can't motivate myself to do anything, or if I feel like crap for longer than that, then it's a sign that maybe I need to go talk to someone again. I've been in therapy before. I've done a lot of work in therapy, and it's not easy to do that. Those are not easy things. So, are there ways that you get through your rough mental days? Do you give yourself space? For me in the past, rough mental days were kind of helped by journaling and reading and doing things like that. And in the case of last night, I decided, screw it. And I went and took a hot bath, decided not to beat myself up for not getting on the trainer. Again, there's that perspective change, which works somewhat. It's still difficult. So, I had that rough day, and I then chose to read in the tub instead of beating myself up and instead of riding that trainer. And I think sometimes it's just, I get caught up in beating myself up for the things that I'm not doing rather than looking at all of the things I have done to make change so far. So anyway, I don't want to get bogged down in toxic positivity. I want to be real on this channel. And I hope that realness helps you on your journey. I know that it helps me become more accountable and feel better about myself. So hopefully you find this helpful. I always hope that this is helping someone and not just me. Just generally speaking, making these videos, talking to the camera and knowing that there are a few of you out there listening and watching is incredibly helpful. It holds me accountable. Having people watching helps me be more accountable to myself. I really appreciate the support in the forms of views and thumbs up and subscriptions, and the comments. If you need help keeping yourself accountable, feel free to comment. I really appreciate all of the comments, the likes and the subscriptions and all of that. It means a lot to me. And so I appreciate that. And, with that, I'm going to go take a walk, and I hope you do too. Doesn't have to be a long walk, can just be around the block or down the street and back. So anyway, I appreciate you, and I will see you next